finish it off. Wang Dongbing. And it's a sick win for Antonsen. Anders Antonsen, the wait is over. They've done it here. Delight for India.
Hello and a very warm welcome to another episode of Badminton Weekly with me, Jasmine Lim. Last week, the Badminton World turned its attention to the home of K-pop and K-drama as the 30th edition of the Korea Open took center stage. Now, we of course were very entertained by some of the best as they battle it out on the courts. So join me today as we relive some of the biggest headlines coming out of the Korea Open in the next 15 minutes. And today, I am very delighted to welcome back Denmark's very own Hans-Kristian Vittinghus. Welcome back to the show, Hans.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me, Jasmine.
There's no better place to start than with your compatriot Anders Antonsen. What a week he's had in Korea, defeating the likes of Cho Tianchen, Kenta Nishimoto, and Zii Jia before outlasting Loh Kian-yu in the final. It was no doubt a challenging road to the title, but one he must be especially proud of because it is his first tour title since January 2021.
Yeah, definitely. I spoke to him earlier today, actually, and he was ecstatic, of course. It's so great for him to be back at his best and be back where he's fighting for the titles. That is what he's working for and what he's dreaming about. So it was just fantastic for him and also for me to see him back at that level. He's been struggling with injuries on and off for a long time now, and it just takes a long time to get back, especially to the physical best condition again. I actually don't think he's there yet. I think his game is getting better and better, and he's getting better and better in the actual match situation. But I think in terms of his physical abilities, I still think he has some way to go actually to get back to his very best, and that's a little bit frightening also for everyone who has to play against him, because I still think he has some room for improvement from here.
Anders' head-to-head record going into this final with Loh Kian-yu was at an even 1-1, so we knew it was going to be a tight one for both of them. But what do you think gave Anders the edge here?
I think there was quite a few things he changed after the first game. First of all, he found much better length on his lifts in the first game. He gave way too many attacking opportunities to Loh Kian-yu, and he has a very proper smash, and you could see Anders basically had no chance when he played defense. So I think he found better length. I also think he actually managed to take a bit of the pace out of the game. So he played, found a way to kind of get that element a bit out of the game. Loh is a much faster player than Anders is, so we knew that it could not be a very fast-paced game if he was to have a chance. And I think a third thing that he also changed was his own attack actually in the final two games. He attacked much softer and much steeper in comparison to what he did in the first game, where he was much more about attacking with power. So I think those three factors were what really changed the game from the first game into the second and third ones.
Now let's turn our attention to the women's singles category. We talk about her almost every week, but An Se-young has had such a remarkable year so far. She equals Lee Xue-rui's record of 9 finals in a year, and it's still only July. To add to that, she made quick work of Tai Tzu-ying in the final, didn't she? Before walking away with her 6th title of the year. Now that must have been incredibly special for her, especially in front of a home crowd.
Yeah, you could see it on the way she celebrated after the match, that she had been keeping in all those emotions. It really meant a lot to her. And yeah, the way she won that final today was just outrageous, I would say. You don't beat Tai Tzu-ying like that in a final. It's amazing what else young she does week after week, and sometimes we forget that she's still only 21. It's just, it is basically outrageous what she is doing. She is so good. It's so impressive.
Like you said, she has such a strong game, and she's still so young as well. But does she have a weakness that perhaps someone can exploit in her game? And if we look at the final in Korea, was there anything that Tai Tzu-ying could have done better?
Yeah, well, it's a very good question about her weaknesses. Like, I haven't found her weakness, so I honestly don't know what her weakness is. I think definitely there's a few things Tai Tzu-ying could have done today. I think her game was a little bit error-prone, which is sometimes her weakness, but it was also very difficult because An Se-young took away all the good parts of Tai Tzu-ying's game. So like, she was dominant at the front of the court, at the net, where Zii Jia actually played amazing, but An Se-young just kept on countering it and doing it even better. But I think Zii Jia could have been a little bit more like persistent and a little bit more patient. But I felt like quite early in the match, it was evident for both players that An Se-young just had a bit more in every aspect of the game, and I kind of felt like Zii Jia was beaten quite early in the match actually in terms of the mental game, and I think the mental side of the game is one of the aspects where An Se-young is actually the strongest, which again is completely insane given that she's only 21 years old.
Another pair who are on a roll recently is India's number ones, Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy. They defeated world number 1 and top seeds Fajar Alfian and Muhammad Rian Ardiyanto to walk away with their second title in a row, while also becoming the first Indian pair to win a Korea Open title. Confidence must be at a sky high for the duo.
Yeah, and no doubt about that. I would say at the moment, they are probably the best pair in the world. I also know they will shoot up to second in the rankings after this tournament, only behind Alfiana and Ardiyanto, who they beat today. So I think right now, they will be the pair to beat more than Alfiana and Ardiyanto. Yeah, they definitely had a very tough draw. They beat 2 Chinese pairs on the way. They also beat Hoki Kobayashi. And I think just for each round they progressed in the tournament, I think they gained a little bit of confidence. First for beating the Thais in the first round, then a Chinese pair. And then when they played Hoki Kobayashi, it was quite convincing in that quarterfinal. And I think that just added that extra bit of confidence that they already started building in Indonesia when they won that one. And they just keep on adding like little bricks of extra confidence all the way. And obviously when they won that semi-final against a Chinese pair whom they haven't beaten before, it's obvious that they went into that final, brimming with confidence. I also think they haven't actually lost a final yet this year. So yeah, they are just very high in confidence at the moment. And again, I think there's no one who wants to play them because right now they are the best pair in the world in men's doubles, in my opinion.
Joy for Shetty and Rankireddy, but the same can't be said for Malaysia's Zii Jia, as his partnership with the new coach Won Tak Ming started off with a defeat in the opening round. Let's turn to our on-site commentator Jivan Selvanathan, who will provide us more insight into Zii Jia's short stint in Korea.
Well, with Zii Jia, I have my own personal feeling is that everything just happened too soon for him. You know, the All England win for him really catapulted him in Malaysia, and a lot of people started immediately comparing him obviously to Lee Chong-wei. Now, I've had the honor of meeting Lee Chong-wei a number of times in my career, and the one thing I can say about Lee Chong-wei is he never doubted himself. So now, when the fans started comparing him to Lee Chong-wei, it was all about, you know, as soon as he wins again, he's going to get his confidence back. But it doesn't actually work like that. You have to get your confidence back, then you'll win, because there's so many other players in this men's singles category that are looking for titles. So that match he played with Eun Ka-long, very similar players in build, in the way that they approach the game, but he wasn't focused on that game. There were still unforced errors even coming back. I think everyone was scared a month ago when he said, that's it, I'm taking an indefinite break. Nobody knew how long that break would be. Nobody knew where the future would be. And I think his new coach, Tat Meng, by being a player himself as well, is going to focus on that. It comes down to soul, mind, and body, to get a little bit abstract about it. And the soul controls the mind controls the body. So it doesn't matter if you've got the biggest smash in the world. It doesn't matter if you're fastest on court. If you haven't got the soul powering the mind, then none of that makes any difference. So I think the main thing that Tat Meng is going to do over the next few months, and it is going to take a few months, is try and get him to isolate his mind from everything else that's happening. I still think there's a lot more to come from Zii Jia, but it's all up to him. Tat Meng can only do so much.
Fortunately for Zii Jia, he can look to bounce straight back this week in Tokyo as we head over to the Daihatsu Japan Open from the 25th of July all the way through to the 30th. And just like Zii Jia, PV Sindhu also has a new coach in Hafiz Hashim. What do you make of this partnership, and do you see a better start here?
Yeah, I was very excited to see those news. I've played against Hafiz Hashim many years ago. He's a very likable person. I haven't seen him with the at this top level of coaching yet, so I'm very excited to see him. I see some similarities in the game style, so I'm very excited to see what he will bring to PV Sindhu in the long run. Again, I don't want to draw any conclusions early on, because it's also a new situation for Hafiz to be at coaching at this level. But I'm very excited to see it because I think he had some of the calmness that I think Sindhu maybe sometimes needs in the tighter situation. So maybe he can find a way to pass that on to PV Sindhu somehow. We will have to wait and see, but it really made me happy to see when she announced that.
World number 1 Akane Yamaguchi would also want to go further this week as she looks to make it a hat-trick of titles in her home tournament. The local support could prove key for her this week, don't you think?
Yeah, it could, and I think we can safely count on her being there in one of the final matches. She's basically been making semi-finals and finals in every single tournament she played. I think the home advantage is definitely an advantage, but in some ways it can also add the pressure. I think we saw that during the Tokyo Olympics that the entire Japanese team were struggling a little bit with the expectations, so it can kind of work both ways. But if she is playing well and if things are going well for her, working out for her, I think it's definitely an advantage because it will add just a little bit of motivation to do well in front of her home crowd. But she also has her work cut out. I know the draw looks fairly kind to her, but if she wants to win, there is a certain An Se-young we already spoke about that she will have to most likely beat at some point in the tournament, and that's a very tough task at the moment.
And finally, Dechapol Pravaranukroh and Sapsiri Ratana Chai will also be looking to defend their title in Japan. They take on your compatriots Matthias Christensen and Alexandra Boye, who have been in good form lately in the opening round. How do you think this one will turn out?
Yeah, that's a very exciting first round. Those two pairs have played each other 4 times this year already, and it's 2-all. They've been changing who's winning all the time. So it's going to be very exciting to see who's going to win this one. I would still have the Thai pair as my favorites, but only slight favorites because Christiansen and Boye are really high on confidence at the moment. And they've also stayed home to prepare just for this event. So I think they have a small advantage there. But yeah, I will still hold the Thais as my slight favorites. Dechapol is such a fast player. He can cover the court like basically no one else. Maybe Sheng Siwei is at the same level, but he's up there amongst the very best players in mixed doubles with his court coverage. And I think Sapsiree, she just has like great technique. She has this great overall ability. So even if she goes to the baseline, which she doesn't do too often, but she can be there, it's not an issue. She knows where to put the shuttle all the time. She's such a clever player. So like when they can set up their attacking opportunities, I think they're very difficult to beat. Whoever wins the service situation, the first 3, 4, 5 shots is gonna win that match because both pairs are best when they are in offense. So if you can win the offense in the service situation, they will have a very good chance of winning, and that is going to be the key element in that match.
Well, plenty to look forward to in Japan, but for now, we've come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much once again, Hans, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for all of you watching, don't miss out on any of the action from the Daihatsu Japan Open, starting from July 25th all the way through to July 30th. And if you guys are on the go, you know we've got you covered. You can catch the latest news, match updates, and statistics through the BWF app, Badminton for You. And finally, keep your comments, thoughts, and questions coming on our Facebook and YouTube pages. We read them all, so let us know who you're looking forward to see in Japan. But for now, take care everyone and have a fantastic week.